Good morning, friends. Welcome to another episode and another day. What happened while you were sleeping? What happened yesterday in the cryptocurrency space? What is the hottest news of the day? What do we need to know about the macro picture of the economy, of cryptocurrency, of the possibility of inflation, these types of things? That is what the Daily Crypto Update is all about. The Block Thrasher Daily Crypto Update. Glad to have you here. It is Thursday, July 1st, 6:45 in the beautiful, 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 beautiful state of Wyoming. I'm in the foothills. The sun is just starting to come up over the horizon. Birds are chirping. It's beautiful, beautiful out here. I'm in an area where you constantly see pronghorn, also known as antelope. Beautiful, beautiful antelope with nice horns, lots of deer as well. Well, let's jump in and get started with the daily crypto update. What happened yesterday of note? Well, Elon Musk is at it again, and he's tweeting about DOGE, saying something along the lines of "let the DOGE loose" or something like that. However, it seems to have had little, if any, impact on the Dogecoin price because Doge has not moved in the last 24 hours. I think there was a very, very, very slight temporary spike, but Doge is at 25 cents. The total market is down. Market cap is down by 2.5%. So combine that with yesterday, and things are not really negative, but definitely not positive. Going the wrong direction for all of the cryptocurrency fans, investors, and hodlers. Bitcoin dominance is 43.9%, Ethereum 17.3%, and gas prices have just plummeted once again. This is incredible. 10 GWAY for standard. You could even go down as low as 7 GWAY per safe. So if there's anything that you need to do on the Ethereum network, whether it be trades or throw something in a liquidity pool on Uniswap, now is a great time to do it. 10 GWAY. Just incredible. Word of the day is Stalwart. Stalwart. It means firm, steadfast, or uncompromising. Firm, steadfast, or uncompromising. Now, within the cryptocurrency space, obviously, those who are stalwarts, who remain firm, steadfast, and uncompromising, end up reaping the greatest rewards. And it requires that because cryptocurrency is such a nascent space with so much volatility that it can be easy to lose heart, give up, throw in the towel. I just can't take it anymore. I'm done with this. You see it happen all the time. But as with anything, without taking that risk, you may not be able to enjoy that reward. High risk, high reward, right? It's an important thing. I think so many people in life, they struggle with this issue of, well, if I do this, if I launch this business, or if I move to this place, or if I pursue this relationship, there's risk involved in that, and I just don't know if I can handle that. And so they never achieve what they might otherwise be able to. They never enjoy the reward. It was Winston Churchill that said something to this effect once. I've seen the quote and with some really nice art and poster, it stuck with me. But if you never take that risk, yes, you're not going to fail, but you're also not going to achieve, and you're not going to see that great reward. So in order for there to be great reward, often there has to be great risk. But a lot of people, we are in a time when that's becoming increasingly less palatable to people because we've elevated safety and stability to such high levels. We see this especially emanating from government, whether it be small local government or big government, where every absolute thing that might be dangerous to a person has to be outlawed or regulated or whatever, to the point where we've been coddled so much as a society that I feel like people of old, if you'd gone back to the 1800s, just go back to the people who were coming across the U.S. from the east to the west, in wagons, they would just like look at us today and think that we were incredibly soft people. They took huge risks. And a lot of them died young or got sick or lost children or whatever. I'm thankful that we live in a time where advancements have made it such that we have longer life expectancies and things like that. But most of that is due to a result of better understanding of sanitation and such. So we just know how to protect ourselves better. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is a balance. However, we've also begun to come to a place where this fear has engulfed us. I mean, we saw this especially with COVID. I don't know why I got off on this tangent like I have, but people just panicking constantly, living in fear, not even wanting to go out of their houses for fear that was not necessarily justified. And so you translate that into everything else, whether it be business life or into crypto with investing in crypto. And people respond in fear and they panic and they sell or they abandon or whatever. And they lose out on those rewards. All right, let's just jump back to the market and take a look at what's happening with the cryptocurrency prices. Bitcoin's struggling. It's currently at 33,630. It's at a difficult time getting past that 35,000 mark and moving back up into the $40,000 range. So we're sort of just moving in a sideward trend at the moment with Bitcoin. Ethereum, $2,125, down 1.5% in the last 24 hours. Now, Ethereum, Cardano, Dogecoin, XRP are all still up on the week. It's only Bitcoin, Binance Coin, and Polkadot out of the top 10 that are down, but just negligibly down. And interestingly, Bitcoin is the biggest loser in the top 10 at this moment, down 3.6%. The only thing that comes close to that is XRP, which is down 2%. Rounding out the prices, Binance Coin, $289.24, Cardano, $1.33, Dogecoin, 25 cents, XRP, 66 cents, Polkadot, $15.52, Uniswap, $18.22. Now, Solana is still in the green. The only crypto still in the green out of the top 20 currently on the 24-hour. Now, if we're going on the week, obviously, there's a number of them. Ethereum Classic still just having a phenomenal week, up 32.7%. Solana currently $33.85 and coming in at number 13. Litecoin's also down a bit, 3.2% to $1.36. Chainlink 1805, Polygon $1.10, Ethereum Classic 54.18, Theta Network 6.47. All right, that'll cover our really quick market overview. Here's an interesting story that brings something that we should consider to light. A mammoth Bitcoin whale has passed away, and everyone's left with one troubling question. What's going to happen with his cryptocurrency? Now, this character is kind of interesting as well. There's a story here about this guy, Mircea Pupsecu. Probably butchering his name, but doing the best I can with that. Mircea, reportedly a Bitcoin billionaire, has died at the age of 41. Less is known about his life and even lesser about his death. Sources from local authorities say he went swimming and was swept off the Tremonto coastal sector of the Costa Rican River. Popescu, who is rumored to be of Romanian descent, lived a life shrouded in mystery, occasionally peeping behind the curtains of anonymity to hurl jabs and snarl remarks at the US SEC. He ran an uncensored microblogging platform on the sidelines where he remained the undefeated champion of Bitcoin toxicity to the adulation of cult-like fans and ardent followers. Rarely do you find a man so influential and visionary, yet so vile and bigoted. The man who reportedly held over 1 million coins was known to be everything plus more. Like bottled water in the desert, Bitcoin gave Popsicle an unprecedented, unexpected amount of wealth. Little wonder he once described Bitcoin as fate. Popsicle was known to have begun the digital currency exchange Impex, as at the time Coinbase was just starting to operate. So here's the thing about this. The questions that are raised is, what's going to happen to the large volume of assets he held before his demise? Popsicle remained heavily shrouded in mystery that it may be hard to tell if there were close acquaintances whom he would bequeath his Bitcoins to. So either his Bitcoins, and he had a lot. I think it's stated here somewhere how many he had. It was a lot. It was a lot of Bitcoins. Obviously, $1 billion worth of Bitcoins or something to that effect. The question is did he leave his private keys with anyone that he was close to? Or are they just going to vanish? Is that Bitcoin just going to disappear from the supply, essentially, because no one has that information? The other fear is, will whomever he's left that crypto to just say, I don't care about this, and sell it and dump it on the market when Bitcoin is already struggling? But here's the thing that this brings to us, that I wanted to bring to you actually about this, is be sure, if you do hold a large amount of cryptocurrency, that you have a plan. I mean, it almost feels like this is something that doesn't need to be said because it's such a common sense thing, yet there's story after story after story of people who didn't have a plan, who didn't have instructions, who didn't have those private keys available to someone, to a loved one, to someone to pass on to. And so just think about it and be prepared for that. You know, especially since I think what can happen is often we'll just be like, well, I'm only 40 years old. I don't have to worry about dying. And then next thing you know, boop, go for a swim and never return. We are volatile people. Volatile is not the word I was looking for. There's a word that starts with a V, like volatile. I meant to say fragile. No, that's not even the word I'm looking for either. It's not popping in my mind what this word is. We die easily. Basically, the word will come to my mind. All right, let's jump over to this and start part 2 of our look at inflation, the insidious thief, inflation. Yesterday, we left off with the concept of the triangle model. Robert J. Gordon is a Keynesian economist who's come up with 3 root causes of inflation. According to him, he's called this the triangle model. These root causes are demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, and built-in inflation. Demand pull inflation, what is that? When the demand for goods and services rises faster than productive capacity, demand pull inflation occurs. This type of inflation is due to an increase in the supply of fiat currency and cheap credit. As more money is put into the circulation and is easily accessible, both demand and prices rise. Okay, so when the demand for goods and services rise faster than productive capacity, demand pull inflation occurs. I wonder if that applies right now. Demand for goods and services rises faster than productive capacity. Well, yeah, we've got this interesting thing going on right now, where everybody has money right now because they got a bunch of stimulus money, unless they, lost their jobs. But they got stimulus money. Even a lot of the people that were working, there were a number of sectors that did not lose their jobs and actually fared quite well during the pandemic. And those people also got stimulus money, so they're flush with cash, and so they want to spend. However, the problem is that a lot of things are closed down. I mean, a lot of people did lose their jobs. People that were actually producing, the productive type of, everywhere you go. Sorry if you guys can hear that noise. I'm trying to plug in. All right, I think we're good. Everywhere you go, to restaurants, they can't find people to work. Federal Express, UPS can't find people to work. Amazon, I mean, everywhere you go, people don't want to go into work. People aren't working. So productivity is down, and we're starting to see some shortages here and there. So this type of inflation is due to an increase in the supply of fiat currency and cheap credit, which we're seeing as more money is put into circulation and is easily accessible. Both demand and prices rise. All right. For instance, if demand rises by 5% while productive capacity is only growing by 3%, demand will outpace supply by 2%. With more money chasing fewer goods and services, prices will naturally rise. Demand pull inflation has occurred many times throughout history. An infamous example took place in the UK from 1986 to 1991, when inflation hiked 4.6 percentage points to a 9-year high of 7.6%. Caused by demand-related factors, including lower interest rates, rising house prices, decreased income tax rates, and higher consumer confidence. Yeah, kind of sounds like the things we have going on today. All right, so that's number one, demand pull inflation, according to Robert Gordon. Number two, cost push inflation. When input costs for goods and services increase, such as wages or raw materials, cost push inflation occurs. As the cost of production rises, supply decreases because fewer goods and services are available. Because supply side factors, meaning higher wages and higher lumber prices, have changed and demand hasn't, the producer will pass on the additional cost to consumers. A notorious example of cost push inflation took place in the early 1970s when the intergovernmental body known as the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, imposed higher prices on the oil market without any increase in demand. Now known as the oil shock of 1973-1974, though producers were earning higher profit margins in the short term, all sectors of the economy that relied on oil saw increased production costs. As a result, these parts of the economy that involve oil, transportation, plastics, constructions, saw inflationary pressure on the price of goods and services. Yeah, that happened such a long time ago now that many of us have forgotten about the oil crisis in 1973-94, the oil shock, and forget about the importance for energy independence, which we, for the most part, now enjoy and really don't have to worry as much about OPEC pulling such a trick again. Plus, I think they probably learned their lesson as well, that it really didn't work out all that well for them. It wasn't that profitable. But it is something that can happen. If there is a shortage or some other interruption, that would probably be more likely. An interruption to the supply, to the oil, to the supply chain of oil, or even the deliverability of it. Or what can also happen is government interaction that will cause the price of oil to rise and thereby cause additional inflationary pressures. All right, so that would be in the example of cost push inflation. Built-in inflation is the third. What is built-in inflation? When consumers expect inflation to keep rising, they demand higher wages. And obviously, all of us know that inflation will continue to rise. It's just a matter of how much. This demand results in an increase in the cost of production, which results in higher prices. A circular dependency can emerge, whereby inflation spirals out of control, known as built-in inflation. Lowest common denominator. So here we have, for those of you who are just listening on audio, a graph. It's a chart which illustrates price changes in select U.S. consumer goods and services and wages from 2000 to 2020. And so this doesn't even really include what has happened post-COVID, which is pretty significant. But nonetheless, per figure 1, we can see changes in prices within various sectors in the U.S. economy over the past 20 years. Sectors with government intervention, education, housing, medicine have seen prices soar. I've often thought about this. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm in the wrong business, because in the businesses that I'm in, there's very little government intervention. And it's become increasingly clear to me that the businesses that are doing best over the last 2 decades are those who have experienced a lot of government intervention. This research from Kraken, no less, illustrates that that's true. And if you look at this chart, you got at the very top, the most inflationary part of the consumer goods and services and wages is hospital services, up 200%. Under that, you've got college tuition and fees, and then college textbooks. Medical care services come after that. Child care and nursery school, average hourly wages, housing, food, and beverages. All of these seeing significant increases over the last 2 decades. With housing and food and beverages, we're looking at about a 54.6% overall inflation in just 20 years. 54.64%. But when you get up into the hospital services, you're looking at 200%. College tuition and fees, 160%. The things that are actually deflationary are TVs, which have decreased by 90-something%. Other things that have gone down in price are consumer software, toys, cell phone services, and the things that have remained fairly stable have been clothing, household furnishing, and new cars. Of course, this is according to the American Enterprise Institute. Depending on who your data is coming from, you could always debate things a bit, but this looks pretty legit. We can also see in figure 1 that competitive markets with low involvement by the government, cell phone services, toys, and TVs have seen prices fall over the past 21 years. Net. It appears there is a strong correlation between governmental intervention on markets and inflationary impacts. Surprise, surprise. All right. Tomorrow, we are going to look at what are the effects on inflation and continue on with this discussion about inflation. This is going to get good. So you're going to want to come back. This is going to especially get good later on and toward the end when we start talking about ways to protect ourselves from inflation, from regular inflation, from the possibility of hyperinflation and the coming inflation. You're going to want to be. So come back, tune in. All right, friends, hope you have an incredible day. Hope you can get excited. There's got to be some reason to be excited. We're in July. All right, let's do this thing. July, one of the hottest, most hellacious summer months, but also one filled with lots of fun, right? Get out to the beach, get to the lake, get to the river. Get out, do something. Spend some time with your friends and your family. Have some fun. Try not to become a victim of the urgent and just get caught up in all the things that we have to do every day that distract us from what really matters. Listen, we love talking on the Block Thrasher Daily Crypto Update about cryptos and inflation and macroeconomic, everything things. But at the end of the day, none of that matters all that much. True value is really derived from the people we have around us and our opportunities to help them, show love to them. So always keep that in mind. It's always about that at the end of the day, right? All right, friends. Appreciate you all. Talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye now.